Any other questions or concerns about anything regarding the system as of right now?
No, I mean, we did our inventory. Jay did most of it because it was too cold for me in the cooler, so I got very soft skin. So,
I understand.
yeah, there was a lot of counting, I know, and I don't know if we did it right or what, but it was our first attempt. Did you put it in?
No,
I sent it. I don't know because I didn't know if I had all the boxes and everything. I put it in as a PDF. I added to that list I sent you, and I sent Brittany a copy.
Referring to this original sheet that he sent us, that we did like the shelf sheet based off of. So it's totally fine. What you're going to do now is you're going to be missing some items, yes, but we still want to proceed because here's the thing. The more that we're doing this, the better that your inventory is going to get, and this is our first ever inventory. Now, I'm going to go ahead and have you guys, or have Jay, whoever, going to get it entered into the system. Now, every single Monday, I'd say Tuesday morning, the latest, that your inventory needs to get entered by.
It has to be done on Sundays, but I have till Tuesday morning to get it in.
Usually what I like to do, count it Sunday night, Monday morning, start putting it in, and that way you can kind of look at it and go, all right, wait a minute. I got, if you look at it on one of your numbers, unless you say, instead of counting it by the pound, it's by the case, and you're like, all right, I don't have 40 cases of this.
Right.
It gives you a little time to go back and look at it and then make adjustments, right?
Okay.
Because if you wait too long, next thing you know, you're like, I don't have that product anymore, so I don't remember how much I actually had.
That's another thing too, is that I know that we had the choice. I don't know if it's a choice, but the way that I did it was, it's kind of like if I had a full case, I marked the full case. But the next time around, let's say I don't have a case there and I see those individuals, it's kind of like I need to have a reference of saying, okay, last time I counted this as a case. So I have a choice to count it as a case. So it's like 1.25, like if I have a case and a gallon, like let's say if there's 4 gallons come in a case. So I'll, mark it as 1.25 cases, or is it going to be better to break it down even more than that?
The thing is, I'm going to always tell you, how do you want to count it, right?
Right.
So if you want to count it by the gallon, and that's the best part is when you're taking notes, right, for your inventory, circle that item and say, hey, I really don't like counting it by the case. This is my problem. I need to just write like I need by the gallon, by the whatever you need. We can change it because it doesn't make a difference how we want to count it, because if we're not counting it, how you want to count it. So we want to make it as simple as for you, so that way when you go through it, you're flying.
But when you're inventorying items, you just want to confirm whatever you're inventorying in the quantity, that it's correlating with that unit size. So this coleslaw, I can see it's a 7-pound bag, so it looks like it comes in 2 7-pound bags, but we're counting it by the per bag. If I have, let's just say that I have 7 pounds of it, I'm not going to enter 7. I'm going to enter 1 7-pound unit size.
So,
all right.
If you have like 1.5, you can go 1.5. Then would that be
exactly? Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of people will go in here and try to do 7 under the count, and they're basically saying 7 bags of 7 pounds, which is not what we have.
Let's say our distributor is out and we went to have to purchase it and it comes in a different size. So how would we log it then? Different category?
In that case, do you see this bacon? Bacon, you see how it says in parentheses group? Let me go through the rest of this and I will go back to your question about the grouping, because I actually did tell Gino today I wanted to show you guys how to group items. I've already started your grouping for you, but that will eliminate any issues with swapping products and whatnot. So once you're done, you're just going to continue going down the list. You guys are going to start entering your inventory. And I'd say do it in sections. I'd rather have you guys lose, if you guys lost internet, for example, lose just the walk-in cooler rather than your entire inventory. So once I'm done with the walk-in, I'm going to scroll down, save that, and then move on to the next location. Now, when you're taking inventory, the biggest tip I have for you is if I'm putting, like right over here, if I put 64 fluid ounces, thinking that's 164 fluid ounce instead of 64 bottles of 64 fluid ounces, you see under the extension column, it says 620. I know that I definitely don't have that much of that, so that's automatically tells me that there's something wrong within my inventory count, whether that be the product price is wrong, maybe the pack size is wrong, what we've entered is wrong in the quantity. Another thing is when you guys save it by section, it should be pretty consistent as long as you guys are not purposely trying to lower your inventory or higher your inventory amounts. Now, that being said, on a weekly basis, because it's going to be the same, you should have pretty good averages. So, for example, if my main walk-in cooler is on average $620, I always look at the totals on the bottom. Also, if you ever want to confirm that this item, that whatever you entered did save, it will generate with totals on the bottom. If it does not generate totals, it did not save your work. All right. But right over here, you can identify, hey, right now it's $600, but it's normally $200 for my walk-in cooler, so I automatically know to double-check that specific location. Now, a couple of different things that you guys need to learn. Now, once I'm done, you can do this. I like doing this before my inventory, but you can do this after making adjustments to the pack size. Now, anytime you do this after you've counted your inventory, you just want to click save. But what you can do is a couple different things. Let's just say that this mango, right now it's in here by the 1.5 gallon. For this specific inventory only, I want to change it by the case. I can click on this drop-down box under unit size and change it to my purchase unit, which is by the 4.5 gallons instead, if I want to count that way for this specific inventory. If I want to permanently change it, I double click on the product and I can adjust it from this drop-down box right over here. I can take it out of locations, I can put it into a location, I can even add the counts in all the locations.
Let me just say one thing real quick. So what you want to do is when you're taking the sheets and you're counting inventory, and let's just say I'm going to pick on this buffalo hot sauce, right? And you're like, all right, I want to count it both ways. I want to count it by the case and I want to count it by the 1/2 gallon. All you have to do is let us know, right? We'll put in the product as a 1/2 gallon like she has right there. Then we're going to go in and write a recipe, right? And adjust the inventory by the case. So whatever, either way, doesn't make a difference how we do it. And now I'll have both products right next to each other. You'll have it by the case and by the 1/2 gallon, if that's how you want to count it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So you just have to let us know how you want to do it, right? And we can make that happen.
And then the last thing is, what you also can do is you can drag and drop items. So initially our carrier, and then it was our giant straws in the tea bag room. Maybe our straws are number 1. I can actually use this little drag feature and drag and drop where I want this item. Once we have, I'd say about 4 weeks worth of inventory in your system, the 4th or 5th inventory will probably start being a lot more accurate than what it currently is. But don't feel discouraged, because everyone goes through this and it takes them, a couple weeks for you to get an accurate inventory. Now, I'm going to go back and answer your question about the products that you're buying substitute items for. Now, I'm going to go into your food systems and go into your products. And then from there, I'm just going to type in bacon for this example. Now, I have actually already gone into your grouping a couple of weeks ago, I'd say like a month ago, and tried to get some things grouped for you. But you can see right now there is a new item in your system that has not been grouped yet. So what you're going to do is you're going to first identify an item that you want to group together. For example, I typed in bacon, and you can see under the group column, this bacon and this one are grouped together. This one in the middle, is this used for the same exact recipe? It's different, but is it still used?
Yeah, it was just a substitute, I'm assuming.
Okay. Awesome. Now, what we have to do, though, is we have to just make sure our groups are up to date. Now, the only thing that requires you to be able to group an item is the usage unit column. Basically, the only thing in the entire system for the grouping that has to correlate together is going to be the usage unit. That means that if I look at these usage units, you see how they're all 1 ounce? Well, I can't group something that's by the 1 ounce to the 1 fluid ounce. It's ounce to ounce, fluid ounce to fluid ounce, basically volume to volume, weight to weight, each to each. Now, because I can group it, I'm going to click on Group Products. From there, you're going to search for the group. You can see you didn't have that many groups in your system. I'm going to double check again, but for right now, we only have 8 groups in the system. I'm going to click on Edit, and then from there, that's under the Action column, but from there, here's my original group. You're going to type in the group name, or the item name, under Add Products, select it, and you see how these are different pack sizes?
Right.
Yep, so it doesn't matter. Once I click Save, that item is now grouped together, and so I'm including the substituted item. And you see how, now here's the thing about this one. I'm going to go back to your inventory. You see how the inventory for bacon specifically is using the storage unit?
Mm-hmm.
This is my tip for you. Whenever you have a grouped item, no matter what it is, it doesn't matter what the purchase unit is, I would recommend the storage units, you try to make them similar. So for this specific one, all of them are by the 1 pound instead of this one in the middle. I'm going to double click on the one in the middle. And because we can already use it in everything else by the 20 pounds, I'm going to change the storage unit to 1 pound. That way, 1, in your recipes, it's easier to build up than build down. But 2, no matter what now, your inventories will always be consistent.
So let's say you group them, right? Because it doesn't matter if the storage unit is the same as, one's 7 pounds, one's 2 pounds. It's fine. As long as they're all, like Brittany said, usage is 1 ounce. But
right.
The way the system knows it is that once you group it, it's going to say, hey, I just got a new invoice. This is the new product I have. It's going to switch everything. So now when you go to count your inventory, instead of saying 7 pounds, it's going to say 2 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Automatically.
And then
you don't have
your
to change
recipe
anything.
costing cards. In a second, when I show you guys recipe costing cards, what's going to happen is basically in your recipe costing cards, you're going to be selecting the group instead of the initial product, the original product. When you do that, it automatically, as long as you keep your groups up to date, it will automatically keep your recipes, inventory, orders, pricing up to date.
When you count the inventory, and let's say you run across something, and you're like, all right, I'm not sure about this, just circle it, highlight it, and then just let us know and say, hey, listen, I ran across this. What's the best way to handle this?
Perfect. So I've already imported your piece report. I believe I chose a 6-month date range. Double check that though. But it's basically, in order to map it out, I need the recipe costing cards in your system. So this is the next biggest thing. You're going to be doing inventory and everything else in the system that we've already previously gone over, but we have to get these recipe costing cards done. So I'm going to go over recipe costing cards with you guys. We have 2 different types of recipe costing cards in Restaurant Systems Pro. One's an item recipe and one's a batch recipe costing card. The easiest way for myself to explain of what the differences are is your item recipe is going to be the item plate itself. So if my menu item is going to be a cheeseburger with fries, that's an item recipe, the plate itself. Anything that we pulled in the PMix report should have been just an item recipe. A batch recipe is anything that you make basically in the back of the house. So if I have a cheeseburger, but everything I buy from the store, from the vendor, the only thing I make in batches is going to be the homemade ketchup. The homemade ketchup would be my batch recipe. The rest of them would be my item recipes. Now, the only thing that you do have to consider is going to be things by the volume. Do you guys use, let's just think about this perspective. Think about a cup of sugar. It weighs completely differently than a cup of flour, right? So in those kind of instances, although we're not batching them out necessarily, you would still need a batch recipe for it that's a volume recipe. You would literally take a cup of flour, weigh it out, and see how much a cup of flour actually weighs to get the correct amount. So it's just something to consider when you're doing recipe costing cards. Now, I will say the biggest thing for me is I always tell people, start with your batch recipes first. Start with doing all of your batch recipes first and then move on to the item recipes. It will make your life a lot easier because you may have 10 batch recipes within one item recipe. What I'm going to do is under food systems, you're going to go to recipe costing cards. I will say, make sure you're under the correct system. There's no way for us to transfer it over to the correct one if you did it in the wrong system. Now, from here, what you're going to do is this is what the recipe costing card page looks like. Up on the very top are your filters. On the bottom grid, you have all these different options, how to print it out. You can export, you can change it. Now, to actually add a recipe, I'm going to click on Add Recipe. From there, you have this recipe type. The first thing that you want to do is click on this drop-down box, and again, start with all of your batch recipes first. Anything I'm making in batches. Now, I'm going to select Active, don't change this date range. This date range is for me to, or for you and myself to be able to identify when I actually enter this recipe. For the cook's name, you can leave it as is. You can enter the name of the person that's entering the recipe or the actual cook's name. Recipe name, I do recommend whatever you name it in your POS system, I would name it in the system, in our system, and that way when you start mapping out your PLU numbers, that it's going to be much easier for it to automatically generate for you. For the category, batch recipes you can inventory. Also, batch recipes go within item recipes. Item recipes are not inventoried, nor are they going to be entered into another recipe costing card. Key item report is anything that you want to track on a daily basis, and then prep sheet or prep item is anything that you want to put into the prep sheet. As soon as I save, the rest of the recipe costing card page will look like this. The first thing I want to do is start with my recipe costing details, which is this window right over here. My recipe costing details is going to be where I'm adding my ingredients. Now, from there, what you can do is you're going to scroll down and we're going to type in the batch, the storage, and the portion. Once I'm done entering all of that information, I click save and it tells me my unit cost for each of these different lines. Now I can scroll to the right of this and I can now upload a photo of the cheeseburgers. Once you're done, what you're going to do is you would typically want to type in all of your recipe instructions, and you can save the instructions by this save icon right over here. I'm just going to put test for the example. Now you can also upload a video of your on YouTube of your how to make CS onion relish compote video, and then you can actually generate a QR code right over here with it. We're going to click on save and new to go back to a new recipe costing card. And I'm going to show you guys item recipes, and then you guys can get started on your recipe costing cards by yourself. Now, what you're going to do is when you click on save and next, it brings you to a new recipe costing card to start. So again, do all of your batch recipes first and then your item recipes. But from here, same exact thing. You're going to select active, don't change the date range. PLU number. I don't recommend that you put the PLU number. Our part doesn't have a PLU number actually, so you don't have to worry about that. A cook's name, you can select it or leave it as is. For the recipe name, this is where I was saying that you should make this match your POS system if you can. If not, not a big deal. For the menu category, this is what actual category it's applied under. For this one, it's sandwich and burgers, and I'm going to click save. Once you click save, again, the rest of this recipe costing card page will generate. So we're going to start with our recipe costing ingredient. All right, so now I'm done with my ingredients. Again, the first thing I want to do is look at my total cost, and if there's something that's high under the total cost, I'm going to look under the total amount column and identify whatever item that is off in price. Now I'm going to scroll down, and again, under this action column, this is a huge tool for myself, so I just want to make sure you guys understand it. If you guys want to look back at a recipe costing card, instead of getting out of this page, just click on the eyeball icon. It will redirect you to the recipe costing card. So once you're done completing this recipe, the only thing, instead of adding the batch portion and yield, you're going to actually add the current price. But when I hit calculate, it's going to tell me all of this valuable information. First, my total cost of this burger. If I want to hit my 25.5% food cost percentage, my potential price would be $15.95. I'm currently selling it for $14.50, so my actual food cost is a little bit higher. It's $26.96, but hey, we're making $10.59 on every single burger that we sell of this item. Again, click on upload, select files, and upload photos of your items, and that way when you print this off, they see exactly what the burger should be presented by. Now, scrolling down, again, you can enter your build chart, mise en place, and all of that good stuff. And you're going to click save. And don't forget, you can upload a YouTube video of you creating this cheeseburger, import it into YouTube, and then you can generate a QR code.
Cool.
All right. Any other questions or concerns?
I'm doing good.
Okay, so the biggest thing, let's get the inventory done as well as recipe costing cards. We're very close to completing the system. We just need to proceed and get things going. So last week, our budget, we were $2,374.08 under the target at $13,125.68. Our payroll... Our payroll was 11.22% in actuals for variable labor, and that's $762 under budget. Total payroll, because we are top heavy with our salaried management, is about 28.95% as of right now, and we're hitting a 28.95%, which is $3,800 worth of payroll. All right.
But that's still pretty good because you're running the 53% prom, because your cost of goods is just looking at your purchases.
All right, awesome. Just do me a favor, Mark. Give me a heads up if you can't figure out that admin stuff, because I know here's the only thing. I've had another member that we weren't able to figure out their admin, and we couldn't do anything about it. And so let's definitely try to figure that out, okay?
So what do we? Yeah, like I said, he sent me a thing. I think I forwarded you the email he sent me. It's going to take like 48 hours to get back to me about it.
Okay, I'll just let Fred know about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no other way that we can basically even start running targeted ads and all of that until we have Fred as an admin in that aspect. Because I'm an admin, but I can't actually run ads.
Well, he just sent me something that said, we do not create Facebook pages. Looks like Madwire is a business marketing manager. You'll need to log in to remove us. That's all he said.
Will you just forward that over to me, and I'll let Fred know?
I'll forward to you right now.
All right, guys. Anything else?
No, you guys are great. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Well, I will talk to you guys the week after, so I hope you guys have a wonderful week, okay?
Yeah, you enjoy your trip to Honolulu, wherever you're going.
I will.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Bye.